So we are heading in the right direction.
Anna Sheehan, on behalf of Lord Ravensdale.
My Lord, on behalf of the noble Lord and my noble friend, Lord Ravensdale, and with his permission, I beg leave to ask the question standing in his name on the order paper.
My Lords, the Government is confident that the policies and programmes set out in the Net Zero Strategy and in the British Energy Security Strategy will deliver our ambition to decarbonise electricity generation in line with net zero while enhancing security of supply and keeping energy affordable.
My Lords, in order... Oh, I beg your pardon.
My Lords, I thank the Minister for his reply, and the noble Lord Ravensdale supplementary is as follows. The fundamental problem here is that we are not building anywhere near enough low-carbon energy capacity or grid infrastructure to allow us to meet the 2035 target. One of the priority recommendations of the Climate Change Committee's 2022 progress report is that we need a delivery plan to provide visibility and confidence for private sector investors to reduce costs and to build up supply chains. There is a key gap here in comparison to other sectors because whilst we have the heat and building strategy and the transport decarbonisation plan, we do not have a plan for electricity decarbonisation, despite it being so important as an enabler for those other plans. Does the Minister agree that this needs to be urgently brought forward?
Yeah. Well, we will be setting out further plans on this matter in due course. But I just remind the noble lady that during 2021, almost 55% of electricity generated in the UK came from low-carbon sources. We have an ambitious target of rolling out 50 gigawatts of offshore wind by 2030. We have an excellent record in this area.
Small modular nuclear reactors, which could come online much sooner than the EPR nuclear reactor that's proposed for Sizewell. Moreover, SMRs could achieve a significant, or could have a significant export potential if they were to materialise in good time.
Well, the noble Lord is absolutely right. SMR technology is something that we are supporting. We've given hundreds of millions of pounds worth of support to Rolls-Royce, and they are looking actively at how they can roll it out because it's a great potential for the future, both in this country and in its export capacity.
My Lord, in order to have a strategy...
Thank you. Germany and France use compulsion to ensure that large buildings and building complexes like car parks, industrial estates and retail parks install solar panels on their huge roofs. I don't think we want compulsion in this country, but I wonder whether the Minister can assure the House that the Department does actually have a policy to ensure that this incredibly valuable opportunity to help save the planet is actually used across the nation, perhaps through incentives like feed-in tariffs or grants.
Well, I'd remind the noble lady that we have the Smart Export Guarantee Scheme to encourage precisely that. The good news is that we have already 14 gigawatts of solar installed capacity in the UK, the fourth CFD allocation round, so another 2 gigawatts of ground-mounted solar awarded contracts. The Chancellor, of course, recently removed VAT on solar panels and solar panel and storage packages. We are doing a lot in this area. Solar is a cheap and versatile source of power, which we should encourage.
My Lord, in order to have a strategy for decarbonising electricity, the government has to be able to say what will make up the supply when the wind isn't blowing or the sun isn't shining. I've looked high and low, but I have not found a strategy which will set out, be that the use of batteries or hydraulic pumps. I have not found a document which sets out what the government's strategy is for meeting this intermittency. Can my noble friend help me by pointing me to one?
Well, we have a number of energy strategies, energy security strategy, the net zero strategy, but as I said, we will be setting out further plans in this area. My noble friend is right, intermittency is a problem, but I would remind him that we've just invested over £600 million in a new nuclear power station at Sizewell, and of course there will be unabated gas power, which will also be available.
My Lords.
May I first of all congratulate the Noble Lord the Minister for the Government's recent announcement earlier this month that the Government are proposing to offer guaranteed prices via contracts for difference for wave power to enable this important technology to get off the ground. Perhaps that is a small answer to the Noble Lord Mulder's question. But can the Noble Lord the Minister say more about government support for energy generated by community enterprises, including via the procurement bill?
Hear, hear.
Well, I thank the noble lady for her support. She is right in that we allocated CFD support of 40 megawatts of wave tidal stream power in the last CFD round. We want to encourage community energy, and we will do all that we can, working with Ofgem to make sure that it is supported, because it's an important form of generation that we want to secure.
By 2035, we shall need a lot more electricity to power the growth both in EVs and in heat pumps installed in homes and buildings. As a multiple of current demand for electricity, could the Minister tell us what is the Government's forecast of demand in 2035?
I mean, the Lord is right. We will, of course, need a lot more electricity, both for EVs and for the electrification of heat. I can't give him an exact figure at this stage. It depends on a number of different factors, not least of which the success of our demand reduction policies.
Another barrier to the delivery of net zero was the disappointing 14th of December announcement on the green taxonomy. Unlike the answer given by our noble friend Baroness Penn on the 3rd of November in this House, this suggests the work might be delayed or even cancelled. Does my noble friend not agree that taxonomy of sustainable business services could help the financial services industry to identify appropriate activities to support decarbonisation of the power sector and move us to net zero?
Yeah, I mean, the noble lady is right in that green taxonomy is an important component, and she'll also be aware that the work is being taken forward by the Treasury with support from BEIS and from DEFRA. I think it's fair to say that it has a mixed record in other parts of the world, but it's certainly something we're looking at closely.
My Lords, just bringing us back to the core issue here. In its progress report in June, the Climate Change Committee highlighted several risks that remain in meeting the emissions reductions required in 2035, particularly highlighting how supply-side focused the government's energy security strategy was. So, and the Noble Lord did say earlier plans will be brought forward in due course, but can the Noble Lord the Minister tell us when the government will finally deliver the energy efficiency improvements that are necessary both to reduce demand for fossil fuels, to achieve net zero and cut the energy bills that consumers are currently struggling with?
The noble lord is right. Energy efficiency is extremely important, and that's why we're spending £6.6 billion this Parliament on various energy efficiency strategies. The Chancellor, in his budget, announced another £6 billion from 2025 for energy efficiency projects. We have an ambitious target. A new task force is being set up to deliver a 15% reduction by 2030.
Lords, the Minister has already mentioned the support the government has given to Rolls-Royce in developing the small modular reactor. Could I ask what plans the government has to assist Rolls-Royce to move to this exciting British technology towards domestic delivery?
I mean, we are, as Noble Lord said, we are supporting it, and it has an exciting potential, but it's in very early stages at the moment. The designs are still being approved, but we will want to ensure that appropriate support is given to roll it out domestically and in the tremendous export potential of it as well.
Given it's Christmas,
In Grand Committee, Day 5 of the Energy Bill, the Minister said, in defence of the government's stonewalling of support for community energy that these schemes rely on people subsidising uncompetitive forms of energy. Well, that's rich, my lords, coming from a government that, for example, one, has made communities pay more for their energy as a consequence of their 7-year ban on onshore wind, is presiding over a bizarre off-gem connection policies which leaves ready-to-go renewable installations unconnected for long periods. So could I ask the Minister, what estimate has his government or his department made of the additional costs to communities for their inefficient energy policies?
Yeah. I apologise to the noble lady. I really didn't catch most of what her question was there.
And there's Taylor of Stevenage.